Alright, so I got to the market around this section, like this area. I was just looking, first of all, because I forgot that the time London didn't start until 4 a.m. Um, so I was seeing this rejection from this 5 minute supply right here. And I saw we had a two leg check. So personally, I would have entered this if it came back to retest the two leg check to sell to this demand. Would have been a 1 to 7. Um, I guess it was just so clean. It was beautiful. Like liquidity sweep. You have liquidity here, kind of equalize, but you got the imbalance and you got that beautiful supply zone right there. I mean, you've got liquidity right here that we needed to target. Beautiful trend line. And then I was just targeting this 3 minute zone because my original thesis about today was definitely coming to buy off of this 1 minute demand. And I wanted to be able to close this before, and in case that I had to set a limit from this position. However, first of all, this never came back, so I never actually took this trade. And then the market just before session tapped right into this zone. So now this zone's mitigated. Personally, this would have, if I was already in profit, like technically this probably would have been the trade. And originally I would be targeting this 1 minute supply up here. We'll get to that in a second because we didn't actually make it all the way there. But if I was setting a limit, if this was happening at session, like I probably would have just got in. But since it was out of session, I just wanted to watch price. So I was watching price. We had our first break of structure right here. This is, we're going to ignore this. This is another demand that I was looking potentially we could reject from. But you see we tap perfectly into that 1 minute, and then this is a 3 minute extreme. So even if you set your limit on the 3 minute, or you'd have to go slightly above on the 1 minute, I don't think that would fill you just because of spreads. But here's your first leg on your break of structure. So now at this point, I'm just waiting for a second leg to get into this trade. We come back, tap the demand zone on the first leg, which is beautiful, and then right here we create our second leg. So originally I had a limit set right here, I think 110 pip stop. I was going just below this rejection, but we never came back and tested. Like right at 4 a.m. you see we come down. I think it might have been a, no, it wasn't. I was thinking it might have been a higher time frame zone. But we just never came back and retested this. So me, personally, waiting for another break of structure and another demand zone to take a buy off of. So what we have here, boom. Now this didn't fill me. So this was where I was looking to take the buy. I did have a limit right here. I think another 100 pip stop loss. And it just didn't fill me. So I just entered on this wick rejection, and so I got filled right here. So as this wick was coming up, I just manually entered. So my fill was more right here. And then I just ended up moving stops below this because we'd already retested this zone. So if I'm right, like if, and I obviously was, but personally, like my thought process, if I'm right, like we're not going to come back and tap this again. We're just going to go. So my stop loss right there, 9 a.m., we already technically retested. And I'm targeting this zone. However, I just needed a 1 to 8 to pass my account. So I just ended up closing right here, which if we watch, so this was the trade. I was going to close partials at the top of this wick, but I decided after this that like there's just no need. Like this break is we're continuing to break structure. We just had an inducement right here. So this is just basically a trend line, little inducement to give us another break of structure, just showing we're continuing bearish. And then we have another huge candle. Like at this point, I was up like 7%. I'm like, oh, I'm about to close this. Like I'm about to pass my account. So yeah, that was basically the trade from London session. But personally, I feel like it would have been a 3 and out just because we didn't actually reach that full target. I think I just got lucky because I needed, not necessarily lucky, but like it was just good timing where I needed to pass my account and where I closed that we had this reversal from there.